Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Repeat, Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, we'll begin playing message now. Houston, we're going to try and translate that up here. Hold for translation. Translation complete. We'll begin playing message now.
Hey, it's me, Melissa.
What do you do when the aliens invade? Take a shot of MK Ultra and watch Melissa Jade. Put on your tinfoil hat and tune right in. We got their crime spree, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, a complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all bends understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Aliens is on the sun or in Area 51. Time travels, unravels, haunted castles, cops are baffled, potential experimental thoughts that make you transcendental. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Crime sprees, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all bends understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa.
Hello, all of my beautiful people. Hi, sexy wild thing. Carol. Hold on one second. Hello, Carol freaking Claus, Planer Lover, Kate, Hippie Chick, 87, Riley, Harlot, Adrian, Todd Hudat Clement, Jen P, Harlot, Sherry GB, Michelle, Under Review, Foxfire, Musicity Mom, Eddie. Hey guys, how are you? Oh, Eddie, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Yo, yo. Hi, Nightmare. It's been so long. It's lovely seeing you. Riley Rydell. I love that name. Isn't that such a good name? How are you guys? All right. So literally, court was just adjourned in regards to Brian Kohberger. So I'm going to pull up Brian Enton's live tweets. He was there in the courtroom. They were having the hearing on, hi, Boo Berry. My Boo Berry. Hi, Tony. Hi, Carrie. So they were having the hearing on the cameras in the courtroom. And this has been a big battle. Hi, Dara. This has been a big battle going on really from the beginning of this case. And it's interesting to see what they were discussing. So I'm going to pull up the tweets as they were happening in real time. And we're going to go through them. So we got News Daddy up here. Okay. So when I say court just ended, it just ended like a few minutes ago. So we have Brian Enton, who originally said Kohberger hearing on cameras in the court. And so he was outside the Leda County Courthouse. We have the beautiful picture of the 4 victims. Then Brian Enton says, just went through security and sat down in the courtroom. Kohberger hearing expected. Less crowded today, only a handful of media. And you have to remember, hey, Akasha, it's Mimi. So lovely seeing you guys. You have to remember that the media themselves are represented also and are spoken on behalf of. And so we have Brian Kohberger. So this was 1 hour ago. So about an hour it lasted, Gen P, from what the tweets were. It lasted about an hour, I think. Like I said, based off the tweets. Hi, OCD Shaggy. Berrylicious. All right, so Brian Etten tweeted, Brian Kohberger just walked into the courtroom. He is wearing a suit jacket with a green tie, sitting between his lawyers, court starting now. Lawyers for Kohberger, the prosecution, and attorneys for the media coalition are here. So again, that's the lawyers for the media coalition, because we have, as media, we have the right to be able to have access to certain things, to be able to cover certain things. And so I forgot what exact amendment it is, but yeah, I probably should know my amendments a little bit better, but the media has certain rights, and so they have the lawyer for the media coalition there. Hi, Doc BG. Oh, thank you, Pickle Me Elmo, for being a member for 1 month. Right, Angie? And welcome. Hi, Violetta. Hi, Riddler. But we really wanted to know what his crotch looked like today. Said no, never. And they're going to get into that, right? Because the issue is not the people. Oh my God, Claus, don't even start. Do not start right now. The issue. Hi, Lucia. The issue isn't the media in the courtroom versus what people do once that stream is aired or once those photos are distributed. You can't control that. You can't control that, though. Hi. Okay. So our next tweet says, attorney representing the media coalition is arguing to the judge that the media does have the right to intervene when First Amendment and access issues come up. The judge is questioning whether the media has the right to intervene about the camera issue at this point in the Kohberger case. So will they or will they not? Hi, Dave Base. Will they or will they not allow cameras to remain in this courtroom? Hi, ATS News. Hi, Crime Soothin'. Now, again, if you guys remember Ann Taylor's last motion, when she wrote it up, she included, if you didn't think Ann Taylor would lie, she did, because she included photos. Thank you, Q Joe, for being a member for 3 months. I enjoy your chat. Well, thank you so much. That means the world to me. It's nightmares. Oh my gosh. Hi, Dick. She included really manipulated photos and held the media responsible for them. The media who was in the courtroom filming. So she took photos that were altered by someone on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, right, King Scarlet? After the fact, okay, so whatever the media took photos of Brian in the courtroom, the original photo wasn't the issue. After those photos were released, somebody on Twitter zoomed up to Brian Kohberger's crotch area and showed, I guess, that his fly was unzipped. But she, in her motion, included those photos and made it appear like the media in the courtroom were zooming up on his crotch area. That's not honest. That's not truthful. That's not an accurate description of what happened. But she lied. So their whole thing is whether or not cameras in the courtroom is preventing Bryan Kohberger from having a fair trial. You know, she says that the cameras zoom up too much on Bryan, they focus, but again, you cannot prevent what people do with the footage or with the photos after it gets out to the public. The only thing the media is responsible for is how they conduct themselves in that courtroom and what they do with the material themselves. Now, what the public does with it, what individuals on Twitter may do with it, you can't hold them responsible for that. That's not fair. Touche. I see what you did there. Okay. Next tweet says, attorney representing the media coalition says this is an access issue, that people have the right to see what is happening in the Kohberger courtroom. She says people should not have to travel to the courtroom to see what is happening inside, which I think is a fair point because, listen, we live in the day of age of technology, all right? Hi, Jody. We live in I feel like the legal system really does need to catch up with technology, and I'm not just referring to in regards to streaming trials versus the laws and things like that. Technology is way beyond where our legal system is at. But I think transparency is a good thing. Yes, I understand that there's issues that come along with it, but I think there'll be more issues specifically with this case if you do not have transparency. Bryan tweeted then, judge is still questioning whether the media has the right to intervene in this. Next tweet. There is an increasing need for people to see for themselves what is going on inside courtrooms in this country, attorney representing the media coalition at Kohberger hearing says. And I agree with that, because what was allowed to get by even 10 years ago doesn't get by today. And I think that there is a lot more curiosity now from the public to see inside courtrooms than there were in the past, and to understand the entire process. But especially with such a high profile case and with a lot of speculation and conspiracy surrounding it, even from Ann Taylor's own motions, yes, people are going to want to see for themselves that there's not any shadiness, that things are done right. We're not going to just want to have to take your word for it. Let us see it for ourselves. I took it off. Right, Shelly, exactly. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. I just got the first few tweets, Crime Sleuthin. Okay, so then the next tweet is, the judge says that in the Daybell case, the media was characterized as interested parties, but he is questioning whether the media can intervene in the camera issue at this point in the Kohberger case. I want to look up, okay, because they keep using the word intervene. What exactly, does anybody know what exactly, like, does that stand for something other than the obvious? Because, like, why is it in quotations? Like, intervene, like that a few times in a few tweets now. Intervene. Can the media intervene in the camera issue? Like, why is it in quotations? Does anybody know? Well, that's how I took it. Like, intervene. Like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. I think they're wondering if there's time for the media to petition a right to be there at this point. Okay. So the air quotes are just, that's the only part that was throwing me off. Like the air, like not air quotes, but actual quotes. Okay. An intervener is someone who steps in that is not a party. Thank you, Joseph Christine. Thank you so much. Hi, Rebecca. Thank you, Harlot. Okay. I appreciate it. I just didn't know what the quotes, like it threw me off a bit. So thank you guys. All right. So the next tweet, Judge says media cannot be interveners at this point, but when it comes to question of cameras in Kohberger courtroom, but he says he will still consider the media's argument. So Judge says media cannot be interveners at this point when it comes to question of cameras in Kohberger courtroom, but he says he will still consider the media's argument. So they cannot be interveners. Yeah, you're probably right, ATS News. Yeah, that makes sense. You have to show locus standing, a sufficient interest other than the parties. Thank you, Deep Base. Claus. You silly. Then we have the next tweet, which is Kohberger defense says they are concerned cameras in the courtroom will turn the case into a spectacle, and this will turn more into a TV show drama. Let me tell you something. You want to know what's going to turn this case into a spectacle or a TV drama? Claiming the sheath was planted. Right? Ooh. Conspiracy. You guys are the ones who put the drama into the damn TV show. We thought this was a very typical black and white storyline where we all could predict the ending, right? You guys, the defense, are the ones coming in, making this a thriller. Oh, this isn't what we expected, right? Let me throw these little mind-bending curveballs in here. I am telling you that your actions are not aligning with what you're saying. If you're implying, and your motions do have implications that this could be a setup of some kind, and you think that there is some type of shoddy work going on here, some cover up or corners cut, or hey, Big Al, or someone else other than Brian is responsible and they know about it, yet they're still going at Brian, you would think that you'd want all the cameras rolling, right? You would want to make sure every freaking camera was recording and documenting every moment, because you're about to uncover and expose all that shadiness. But instead, you're trying to get those cameras out. Why? It's weird to me. I don't know. You know, like I could understand if this was just arguing the issue of potentially biased jury, you know, tainting the jury pool, and things along those lines. But I just, for someone who's screaming, you don't trust the work done against your client, the investigation against your client, at the same time, it's like, no, I want to move in the dark. I don't want this to be, I don't understand that. Hi, sis. Our next tweet says, Kohberger defense says, even though the media here is doing their job, people on social media still take the images and manipulate them. Again, to circle back around to what I said a little bit ago, you cannot hold the media who are in the courtroom accountable for what individuals in the public may do with the images after they've been released. You can't control that. They agreed to it after she posed. We'll get to that, Tiffany. I'm going in order of how the tweets came out, but it was only because of what the other potential option was, and it wasn't going to work out that way. So they said it would have been easier to do it just none at all. But you cannot say, hey, we're going to take away this right. You can't stream at all because some assholes on Twitter might take the photo and do something with it. That's life. That has nothing to do with this case. That's life in general. You know, like, so you want to take and remove all media because someone on Twitter ended up zooming up on his fly in one of the photos? Does that make sense? Foxfire, this trial specifically is going to have a lot of damage done without transparency. Yeah, they agreed. But why would they? I don't see why the prosecution wouldn't agree. Like, why would they argue? I'm saying it's peculiar for the defense, though. If they really believe that there was shadiness going on, that you wouldn't want it to be recorded, documented, and exposed. So I don't find it weird at all that the state doesn't have issue with it. King Scarlet. That's regarding, dude, if you post on your own Facebook right now, someone could take your photo and zoom up and manipulate it. Like, it's, if you go on YouTube, the same thing. Like, that's just in life in general. You can't prevent people from doing that. But that has, unless the people, the media in the courtroom filming it are responsible, then how are you? No, it just doesn't make sense to me. But you got caught lying. That's the whole point. You got caught lying, Ann Taylor, which I'm not surprised. Listen, but a lot of people argued for a long time how Ann wouldn't lie. Ann wouldn't lie. Yes, she would. So why would that surprise you? Of course it's not about the fly. Oh, hell yeah, Foxfire. But this case has way too much conspiracy around it that people are not going to be satisfied without seeing what's going on in that courtroom. People are not going to be satisfied with this, basically with just tell me what happened. No. Because imagine the information we're going to be getting during that trial. Yet we won't be able to see it, hear the witnesses say it, get any clarification, just basic tweet. No, it's not going to be good enough for people. The next one says, Kohberger defense says they do not like where the camera is placed in the courtroom. They feel like there is a camera right behind them. If the court doesn't remove the cameras, then defense wants the cameras in a different location. Which, to be fair, I'm just going by the stream that I watched. And the one that I watched, it was actually the most recent one, because I can't remember the ones before that. But the most recent one, it was to the back right of the prosecution's table, and then the defense is to the left of them. So if it was in the back of anyone, it was the prosecution, not the defense. So, like, where do you want them to sit? Like, it's a fucking courtroom. Exactly. That point too. Thank you, Crime Sleuthing, because I didn't even say that. That's also putting that heavy trust also in the media reporting the facts to you accurately. And I don't trust that at all either. Hey, Amber. Exactly that. And it was so transparent, more than I could have ever anticipated or expected. But yeah, as far as like where the cameras are in the courtroom, where do you want them to go? For real. Like, they can't be in the middle of the courtroom. They have to be out of the way. They can't be like blocking people. Like, there's not that many options I could imagine. But the last one that I watched, they were in the back right of the prosecution's table, not even the defense's table. So saying that they're right behind you as the defense, that's baloney. Hey, Richie. She wants him in the hall. Nika. That's funny. So the next tweet is Kohberger judge brings up an interesting example. Says there are cameras on the House floor on C-SPAN. Maybe putting a camera at the back of the courtroom out of the way is better, he says. But then Kohberger prosecution says media plays an important role in court process. They want to protect vulnerable witnesses and graphic evidence. They say the safest and best way to address concerns is prohibit cameras in courtroom, or to keep cameras out during certain testimony and evidence. So, hi, NT's up bottom jeans. So, it kind of makes me think, oh shit, actually, was Ann Taylor thinking a step ahead, going back to that last tweet? Because think about even how I responded, right? When I said she wants them to move spots. I'm like, how many different spots are there? Like, where did you expect them to go? Maybe she knew that. where the only other spot really would have in frame things that really should not be in frame, like witnesses and evidence and things along those lines, to where this would most likely be the response. So putting a camera at the back of the courtroom where everything is in frame, but the prosecution's like, all right, but what about my vulnerable witnesses and graphic evidence? So yeah, okay, we could have the camera, but then on certain days, we're not going to be able to do that because we can't have that there. Aw, sexy wild thing, Carol friggin' Claus. Thank you so much for the super chat. She said, oh my God. Timu titties and inner wieners. I am learning way more here than I ever did watching Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers. I love you so much, Carol Claus. Thank you so very much. Your support means a lot. Hey, meat beats. That's so funny, Timu titties. Oh, I can't. Well, honestly, from the judge's statements so far, I feel like he's already given us his answer. You guys will see, and you let me know what your thoughts are when we get there. Hey, Marion. But I feel like we already have his answer, even though he hasn't made his judgment yet. So the next tweet was, Media Coalition lawyer is pushing for pool camera policy. If you guys remember, we went over what that pool policy was. 1 camera in Kohberger courtroom, and then the video is given out to all media. That is the way they are doing it now. So what the pool camera policy is that, so let's say court TV. The court will allow court TV only to be in the courtroom and have them stream or record the hearing, and they will have to give it out to all of the different media associations that have requested it within a certain time period. And that way it limits how many people are in the courtroom. It limits how many cameras, but it still allows all of the media to get the access that they're looking for. Yes, definitely, Riddler. Thank you. So I think that's a fair that's fair to present as the Media Coalition, to come in and say, okay, let's do the pool policy. Just 1 camera in this courtroom, so at least we still have that transparency, that openness. At least we still have insight into that courtroom, while you guys not having to worry about a bunch of cameras in here, a bunch of people zooming, like less likely for any of these issues to come about down the line. CT. Oh man. You guys don't forget a thing. You guys have memories like elephants. Okay. Next tweet is, Kohberger judge says the media has pushed the envelope. Now, I've never heard that term before, or that phrase before. I don't think I have. I mean, it sounds like it's a little bit familiar, but I'm assuming it means like, all right, you push your, like you're maxing out your limits. Is that what that means? Like, you're pushing your luck, you're pressing your luck. Push the envelope. And what have they done? What has the media done to push the envelope? No, but they didn't, Tiffany. Who focused on Kohberger? Can you give me a source specifically of what outlet specifically at what hearing after that was focusing solely? No, that was not. See, that's the problem. No, that was someone on Twitter. That was not the media in the courtroom. I do, Norman. It does. It absolutely does matter who did it, Tiffany, because you're saying the media did it. And then I said, no, the media didn't. And then you're like, no, well, it doesn't matter who did it. Yeah, it does. The media didn't do it. You can't control that some random asshole on Twitter took a photo of Brian Kohberger and zoomed up of his crotch. How can you control that someone's going to do that? Exactly. And failed at that point since it wasn't true. And she lied in the motion. The cameras never zoomed in on Brian. The people who took the screenshots did. The judge will and has reviewed the footage to see that. Exactly. That is correct, ATS News. She's been including social media from the beginning. Look back and read a lot of her motions. It's including social media a lot. Oh, really, Crime Sleuthin'? See, Violetta, the only thing I saw, and granted, I said this before when we spoke about it, I did not watch every network for every hearing. I only watched one network, per hearing. So there may have been one that did it. Not that I know of, though, but the ones I've seen would be a zoomed out version where you could see both defense and prosecution's table. And for short moments, they'd zoom up to the defense table. For a moment, they may focus on Brian, and then they'd zoom back out. But not anything to where they're focusing solely on Brian versus this is Brian's hearing. So yes, if for a moment within this whole video, at one point they're going to zoom up on him for a moment, as long as they're not continuously on him. Hold on, guys, I have to mute for 1 second. Okay, sorry. Hi, True Crime Crazy. I love your new picture, Boo Berry. Well, I don't know if it's new, but since you've last been in here. Exactly. No, Tiffany, first of all, Ann Taylor cannot ask the public not to do anything. She didn't ask the public not to do. Ann Taylor doesn't speak to the public, okay? Ann Taylor was asking the media. And nobody's confused. Nobody's confused. I'm not confused. But she lied. You get that, right? She got caught lying in her motion. So that is why it is important who did it, because she's stating somebody did it that didn't do it. You see why it is important? I love it, Blueberry. And that's all I'm saying. If she's and that's the only reason, because I'm not surprised that she lied. But every single person who kind of went head to head with me saying that, oh, you think Ann Taylor's willing to lose her career to lie for Bryan Kohberger? I say no. A defense attorney's job, I'm not to lie, I'm not saying to lie, versus to create reasonable doubt, to bend things to where it can appear a certain way, to focus only on exculpatory evidence, never inculpatory evidence, like to do word salad. So when I say she placed the sheet there, it doesn't necessarily have to mean someone else put it there. It doesn't have to mean it was planted, versus it's a choice of words where you can interpret it the same way she chose to use other words, because that's her job. That's what her job is to do. And that shouldn't surprise you. She's not going to lose her job over it. That is her job. That is her job. Exactly. Exactly. And I agree with that, Dara. Now that I know the saying, I agree with that. I think she knew. I think she knew. Yeah, that exactly, Dave Base. That's true. You put the best spin on things. You have the evidence in front of you, and you have the facts, you have the evidence, you have the prosecution, and you have the defense, and both needs to come up with the best story around the facts and evidence that they have. One is going to include this person, one is going to try to exclude that person. It's as simple as that. Oh, wow, Riddler. Okay. Yes, thank you, Jen P. This is what I was trying to say earlier, but you phrased it much better. Social media is changing the way high-profile cases are being covered. We're living in different times, and I think it's a shock to the court system. Decisions made now will be very important for the future, and this is what I meant by it's not how it even was 10 years ago. No, not yet, Tiffany. It's not even like how it was 10 years ago. Everything is different, and people expect more now. People want to see for themselves what's happening. People have trust issues. Cannot blame them. We have been lied to a lot. Especially when defense is pushing the narrative that sketchy cover-ups and cutting corners are at play, and potentially placed sheets and things along those lines. It makes you, and then it's like, well, hey, no, we're not going to get transparency, and then you're surprised when we're upset. You cannot control the few randos who are going to take something and manipulate it. You can't change that. All that people could be accountable for is themselves. So as long as the media present in the courtroom is doing what they're supposed to be doing and holding themselves to the standards they're supposed to be, unless they fuck up, I don't think you could take some random person on Twitter and what they did to a photo. Come on. Right, MP. Hey, Olivia, too. Okay, so it was Kohberger. Judge says the media has pushed the envelope. And then we have the media coalition lawyer tells the judge that photographers in the courtroom are getting wider shots. They can't control who later zooms in on the photos to show Kohberger. 100% true. 100% true. Yeah. Agreed. But they won't. So, again, media in the courtroom are abiding by the rules. They're doing exactly what they're told. And they cannot control what someone on Twitter may do with those photos after they are released publicly. Oh yeah, the media, like, listen, I'm not on the side necessarily of the media either. I hate mainstream media, but what I want is transparency. I want to be able to see I want everyone individually to be able to see for themselves, but I don't want to have to get my information from the media, because if it's not streamed and we can't get our information directly for ourselves, we're going to have to take someone just telling us what happens. Oh, well, that wouldn't surprise me, Crime Sleuthin', but do you think, is it the media who are here, or is it like just media in general? So then the next tweet says, Kohberger's judge says he questions whether cameras in the courtroom is a dignified way to have a trial. He brings up O.J. Simpson. If anyone watched that case, it was a circus, he says. So this is what I meant earlier when I said it was pretty obvious where the judge is standing, but he hasn't made his ruling yet. Not here. Not here. Yes, I believe that is the case, Gen P, that witnesses can opt out of being on camera, as far as I know. Exactly. And again, with a case of this magnitude, seriously, anybody who's been following this case, been following in the true crime community, you see the circus this case already is. Can you imagine when trial finally comes, if people won't be able to see it or hear it for themselves? If we're just going to be told, you're never going to get to hear the 911 call, you're never going to get to hear the testimony of the witnesses, you're only going to be told what happened. Do you think people will ever be satisfied? Yeah, it was a circus, but OJ was an actor. Yeah, exactly, but chick. He was an actor. He had a fucking dream team. And it was a different time. And so I'm not saying that it won't be but it's not going to be any different than Lori Vallows was, Letitia Stauks was. We could handle it. Well, welcome, Deborah. Happy you found the channel, and we're happy to have you here. We don't know yet, Punksy. Okay, Crime Sleuthin. I'm sorry for anybody who has emailed me. Really, in the last 2 weeks, I fell very much behind. The last 2 weeks have been very, very hectic, but I will try to catch up on everybody who's reached out. It's a good point too, Zoomer Mom. I didn't even look at it in that aspect, but that's a very good point. Wolfie. The cameras being banned from Vallow Daybell's trial is understandable because everyone knew she was guilty. This case, not so much. Yeah, and I'm telling you, the audio being released at the end of the day with no visual, it just was not the same. Yet Letitia Stauck trial, vividly being able to see every detail. You did not walk away with any doubt that she was the person responsible for committing this heinous crime. And I feel like people need to see the evidence, or they are never going to walk away satisfied that they have the right person. Exactly, Harlot. Yes, yes. Narmar, yes. Hi, B. Oakley. Ooh, yes, OCD. Okay, no problem. The Hutchison, very interesting. Exactly, Deborah. And again, it's just bizarre to me because as the defense, in the same breath that they're saying that they're doing things that you're basically framing my client in so many words. Those are my words. I'm paraphrasing, like you're framing my client. You have the wrong guy. You took backdoor methods with the IgG. Sheath was planted. No, total lack of DNA in my client's car, apartment. Then other male DNA that wasn't tested. You would think that you'd want it all in the spotlight. But instead, you're like, get the cameras out of here. I don't want them to see any of it. It isn't, but it is at the same time. That's what the court system and the United States is about, though, Tiffany, to be fair. Like the specific case is not about us, but being able to have that transparency and have rights to the media and knowledge of what's going on and things like that, we do. And we're paying for his defense. And the media is corrupt. I don't trust them. Everything is corrupt. I don't trust nothing. Right. Defense wants the public to take their word for facts. No, I want to see it. Yeah, but that's the whole point. In order to make sure that justice is served correctly, people need to see. it for themselves. People aren't going to be satisfied just being told it was done correctly. Because I don't want to hear that shit went wrong down the line when Brian's convicted and you tell me some shit happened, but I wasn't there to see it because you said we couldn't be there. Exactly, Harlot. Thank you. You said it much better than I did. Yeah, 2 of the families want cameras that we know about, and it is about them. Yep. Okay. The next tweet was Kohberger's judge says he is asking the media to back off a little bit. He says he questions whether he can really trust the media to do the right thing. He says it's not the camera people, it's where the video goes and how commentators talk about it. So here I circle back again to the same issue. I do not think the issue at all is whether or not they need to allow cameras in the courtroom, even in cases moving forward. This is about the court system needing to catch up with technology and social media. It has evolved way faster, and the court system is not up to date with it. No, exactly, Gen P. There isn't a way to control that. You can't control those things. So you preventing cameras in the courtroom, maybe in this case, okay, maybe you could prevent it in this case, but I'm talking about long-term, future cases. This isn't going to resolve this issue because this is never, we can't ever go backwards. We're only going to continue moving forward. And this is the day of age we live in. We live in the day of age of technology, and technology is advancing way faster than our laws are and our court system is. And our court system needs to catch up. Our laws need to catch up. Law enforcement needs to catch up with where technology is at. But you can't stop something that you would like you can't stop something you would normally allow, a normal process, because it's something that you could never prevent this. You cannot prevent what the public will do. You cannot prevent, hey, the media is going to stream these trials. Guess what? Back when Casey Anthony had a trial, if YouTube really if live streaming and YouTubers and TikTok was a thing back then, people would have been taking clips back then doing the same thing. The difference was that wasn't happening back then. It's happening now because that's the day of age we live in now. So it's not about, well, hey, this case is unusual. No, the court system needs to figure out how to catch up with where things are at with the times we are living in. People are going to take everything and discuss it and transform it and clip it and alter it. That's what you cannot prevent it. I like that, Amy Terry. That's a good thing. Amy says cameras need to be installed standard. So there is no debate about what the camera focuses on, what the media does. Every trial has the same standard camera set up. That's smart. Like every courtroom just has a standard audio visual equipment set up and a feed going. And whether you have access to that feed is a different story. Wheelby says, Constitution allows for citizens to attend a trial and for media release an account of its proceedings, but not for citizens to watch on TV. Right, like it's individually determined per case. Well, Gen P, I think because, again, here we are living in different times now to where a celebrity today, think about it, many people would call like a YouTuber a celebrity, like PewDiePie, or, you know, like really famous, like people who are famous for no reason type of thing. So with the way social media is, Kohberger kind of is, I don't want to call a celebrity, but his face has like celebrity status where it's known everywhere and trending and popular, because that is what social media has the ability to do. Social media plays such a huge role nowadays, and they're not equipped to handle it. The court system is not equipped to handle it yet. So whether they remove cameras for this individual case, this is something they're going to need to figure out long term, because guess what, baby? You're never going to be able to move backwards. We're already here, and we're only going to be moving forward. Technology is only going to advance. It advances every single day. So the idea that you're ever going to be able to prevent photographs or streams from being taken from its original source and then transformed, commentated, talked over, clipped, edited, manipulated, that is crazy. It's not going to happen. Right. Crime sleuthing. Reneged. Okay, so the next tweet was, it's not the same media it is now as it was 10 years ago with social media. Kohberger judge says he wishes everyone had more respect for what is happening here. Says it's not entertainment, it is a tragic issue. So the judge is acknowledging that it isn't the same as it was 10 years ago because of social media. Yes. Now, I wish you would acknowledge that and apply it, though. But I understand the judge. Listen, the judge is in a very difficult situation, so I'm not, you know, I wouldn't know what to do if I were the judge either. But as far as saying it's not entertainment, it is a tragic issue, I 100% agree with that, because unfortunately, as much as I want there to be transparency and everyone to see it, the truth is that yes, there is a portion of people who will take it and use it more for entertainment purposes. But in I don't know how to say this. Well, exactly, Wheelby, and that's what we were saying earlier. The media themselves are corrupt and biased, and we are supposed to just take their word as far as what they're relaying back to us with. I know I'm just gonna say it, it's gonna come out wrong, and so I'm like, I gotta choose my words wisely. But wanting transparency is not the same as, oh, entertain me. Wanting to see and have access into that courtroom is not, hey, I want something to watch tonight. Okay, enjoy dinner. Thank you so much for being here, Crime Sleuth, and I'll check my email. And I don't like that because it feels minimizing. And again, I acknowledge, yes, of course, there's a portion of people who may not take it seriously. Of course, there always are people like that. There are a lot of us that have a passion for true crime. Let's be real. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. A lot of us are interested in the psychology behind it, in the criminology, in the court system, the legal system, everything about it. It's fascinating. But wanting to see for ourselves how this plays out and to make sure that these victims get justice, that Brian gets the fair trial that he deserves, is not synonymous with wanting entertainment. And I didn't like that. Okay, so the next tweet was the Media Coalition lawyer argues that having cameras in the courtroom is the only way to have a real source of what happened. No cameras makes it easier for bad information to go out. If there is no actual footage of trial, responsible consumers have nowhere to go. And I think that this was a great argument because it's the truth. Without cameras, that is how bad information, if you've been part of this YouTube community, you freaking know how quickly misinformation spreads. Oh my goodness, it spreads like wildfire. Okay? If people don't have a source to go directly back to, if we're supposed to just go based off really what we're told, can you imagine how bad the misinformation is going to be? It's going to be, at least if it's streamed, we will know here it is in black and white. Here it is. You could hear it for yourself, see it for yourself. There it is. You cannot manipulate it. It is what it is. If we don't have that, specifically in regards to this case, it is going to get even worse and more wild than it already is. Yes, exactly, Amy. Exactly. And I don't trust them. I don't trust mainstream media. Yes, crazy Claus. Crazy. The next tweet was, the answer is more sunshine, not less. Attorney representing the Media Coalition at Kohberger hearing told the judge. So the answer is more sunshine, not less. And I agree. Do not go into the darkness. Because when you go into the darkness, that's when all of the ghosts and the goblins and the demons come out. It will, Olivia. Hi, Kelly P. Yeah, angels. And it's just different when you hear it yourself. I am telling you, especially me, I am a visual person. I am a visual learner. When I am watching someone, I am absorbing the information much differently. And there's a lot that body language is telling. Just imagine being told, okay, let's take the movie Titanic, right? Listen, I could either tell you what happens in the movie Titanic, right? Or you could watch the movie Titanic. When you walk away, which experience do you feel like you're going to walk away with better knowledge of? Me explaining it to you? Or you seeing it? Me explaining it to you, there's a lot more room for error versus you seeing it for yourself. And you could also go back to the exact timestamp at any point you want. If you forgot something or you want to rewatch it, you can't compare the two because you could see it, you could feel the emotion, you could see their body language, and body language is very telling because if I'm going just based off, let's say, a transcript, you could tell me that so-and-so said X, Y, and Z. And so if I read it, I could take it one way. Yet if I'm watching the person and they say that thing and their body language is saying something completely different, I wouldn't know that by reading the transcript. I would have had to see them when they were saying it to really be like, ooh, that was weird, right? Exactly, Amy. Yeah. Hi, KPM. So then the next tweet was, if you want to avoid a spectacle, take away the cameras outside the courtroom, not the camera inside. Media Coalition lawyer tells Kohberger judge. So if you want to avoid that spectacle, avoid the chaos, take away all the cameras outside the damn courtroom, not the ones streaming inside. That gives the public access to what the fuck's going on. How do we know justice is being served? How do we know corruption is not occurring? And we're supposed to feel assurance that corruption's not occurring while at the same time defense is raising issues that corruption is occurring. Is that really how we're supposed to walk away? Fine, no problem? No. Next one is Kohberger judge says he is sending out a message to the media to be respectful, peaceful, and decent. Okay, here's the thing. Again, I feel like they need to acknowledge there is a difference between the media and people on social media. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that there aren't any outlets of media who aren't doing anything wrong. I'm not saying that, but you cannot control people on social media. So when you're telling the media to be respectful, peaceful, and decent, I hope you're not directing that at people on social media, people on X, Twitter, people on Facebook, people on TikTok. You can't control them. Then we have Kohberger's defense is back up. They say they are not trying to throw the media out. They are just talking about the cameras. So again, yeah, a few reporters can sit in the back of the courtroom just like Brian Etten did and live tweet, but we don't want the cameras there. No, I'm sorry. That's still not good enough for me. That's not nowhere near the same. Where did the court TV cameraman aim the camera, Kelly P? That wasn't respectful. The court TV cameraman didn't aim it at his zipper, KPM. That was a guy on Twitter who took a photo after it was published and zoomed in. It wasn't the media in the courtroom. They accidentally did show the jury. No, you're okay, KPM. They accidentally did show the jury. I think it was Letitia Stout trial. For a split second, they panned over. And I was like, oh! It's a big no-no. Then the next one says, the Kohberger judge says this camera issue is interesting and powerful. Says a lot of balancing will go into his consideration. I feel like I know what his ruling's going to be, but... Well, Kelly P, do you have a feed for reference? Because I haven't seen a specific one. So do you have a network and feed to refer me to as a source that kept zooming in on Brian and like the date of it so I could see for myself? Because I haven't seen one that specifically kept zooming in on Brian for an extended period of time. Kohberger judge says other trials with cameras have gotten out of control. They spun out of control, in my opinion. Well, the last two court appearances, for which network? Because the ones I saw was a zoomed out shot, and it was from behind the prosecution table, back right of the prosecution. So you saw Bill Thompson continuously getting up frustrated. And you saw the defense table to the back left. And at point, they would have the wide frame, and then they zoom up to the defense table, then they zoom back out, zoom up to the defense table, zoom back out. And at moments that they would go up and zoom up to Brian's face, but not for extended periods of time, and then zoom back out. Nothing to where they were focusing solely on Brian. So unless someone has something that they could refer me to that I could see, because I haven't seen anything other than that. So I want to know what other trials with cameras have gotten out of control, because the way I'm seeing it, no offense to the judge, is you want to prevent something that is not preventable, and that's social media. This is not about the cameras in the courtroom versus how social media is going to play a role. There's a difference. So again, even if the judge does not allow cameras to be in this courtroom for this specific trial, this isn't a long-term solution, because this is not going away. This isn't going to change. They need to figure out something that works with where we're at currently. In my opinion, unless he's going to keep referring back just to the OJ case. But come on, like the OJ was, it's a unique circumstances. It was a very unique case. Yes, it was massive and publicity wise huge, monumental. But you can't, like, how many, that was unusual. That was not normal. Exactly, Elsa, and I agree with that. And so more secrecy is not going to do any good. But all right. The hearing is for Brian Kohberger, Kelly. I think for an hour hearing, right? If you accumulate all of the time zoomed up for Kohberger, if probably 2 minutes total of that hour hearing is zoomed up on Kohberger, do you think that's unreasonable given that Kohberger is the defendant? If this entire case is based on the defendant, that at points they're going to zoom up on the defendant? I don't think that that's unreasonable. Now, I don't agree that they should be solely focused, just zoomed up on him. I don't agree with that. But again, the feed that I saw, I didn't see that. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a feed out there that shows something different. That's why I asked for a source, because if anybody has seen that, please let me know. I just haven't seen it. But of course, they're going to show the defendant because this is about him. We're going to want to see if he's giving any reactions to what's going on, little telltale signs. Is he going to say anything? It's not so crazy. Yeah, they zoom up on Bill Thompson when they speak. They zoom up on Ann Taylor when they speak. Like, it's just kind of bouncing back and forth between who's speaking. Me too, Michelle. I agree with that, Elsa. It would be nice if every courtroom was equipped with standard cameras already there, and kind of like media has to get access to the feed type of deal. Exactly, Dave Base. But to say, oh, well, in the other trials with cameras, they've gotten out of control, they've spun out of control. That's not, I don't think that's fair at all. I don't think this is about cameras. Honestly, I'm a bit. This makes me feel, and I know I might be jumping the gun here, and I acknowledge I might be jumping the gun here, but I'm just being honest. Makes me feel like the judge himself may be a little bit nervous, because this is a huge trial, and there is national spotlight, and that's got to be nerve-wracking for him as a judge too. The idea of every moment of it being filmed too must be nerve-wracking. So maybe those nerves are playing a factor too. I don't know, just a thought. The only one he cited, Michelle, was OJ, which I don't even know how you can reference OJ. We live in a different time right now. Michelle, the judge is more angry about social media. You can't control social media. Oh, absolutely, Kelly P. I think, like I said, what would be nice is if the courtrooms had fixed cameras, right? Like have the courtrooms install their own cameras that they feel is satisfactory, that they control, and just media has access to them. That would be a solution. That's what I'm thinking, Amy. So, all right, I'm happy that someone understands, because, like, not so much that he's doing anything wrong versus just how much this is going to be looked under a microscope. Every moment, every aspect, every ruling he makes is going to be under a microscope, and that's got to be nerve-wracking. But again, OJ was a different time. OJ was a different person. You can't compare the two, but you also cannot control that social media plays such a relevant role in our world today. So you are not angry that media is pushing out a feed from the courtroom or posting photos. You are mad that social media is then taking it and then commentating over it, manipulating it, editing it, doing whatever they may do with it. But you cannot control that. You cannot control that. Yeah, there was no social media with OJ, right? So then he says, Kohberger judge says he will try to do the right thing for the public and the parties. No decision today on cameras in the courtroom. Court is adjourned. And that's where they left off. I believe that will be. But I still believe that he could be nervous. Like anybody would be. I can't imagine a judge not being nervous. It's a huge national case under so much spotlight and pressure. Oh, let me see if I can find it, Jen P. I didn't even get to see it. Hold on. Not that I know of, Kelly P. Not yet. But I know the victims' families were pushing for cameras. Some of the victims' families were pushing for cameras in the courtroom. So the own victims' families wanted it. Do you know if they did though, Jen P? Did you like? Right, and that's the whole point, Dave Base, right? Like, because at least if it's recorded, you have something to refer back to. You have a source of the information. Without that, where the misinformation is going to run rampant. I'm gonna look. Hold on. Up. Oh, okay. Wait. So I have this, which is this morning.
Cameras all the community needs to determine who this individual is. You cannot ask for the community to do the death penalty without their vision, without their support, without their understanding of all the aspects of the case. It's more than just the jury members, it's the community. It's a message for everybody to understand. In Idaho, this is how we work. We're not the same as Chicago. We're not the same as Miami and New York and LA. This is how Idaho perceives a major incident, and this is how we react to it. And we have the resources to do that. So I don't know what removing the cameras really provides other than a gap. And we've had a gag order in this case, and that didn't work out well. You hear about other people who've been placed under a gag order. It doesn't seem that the Constitution works well with this constitutional time of when it's okay to speak about, I don't know, I don't want to say the truth, but I want to say when people are going to speak about a case and let the audience decide what the truth is. A gag order is an old version of controlling the narrative. You can't control it anymore with social media, TikToks, and like I've said before, it's not NBC, ABC, and these three medias that control this narrative. The whole world sees everything. So pretending like you can control, and what are you trying to control? Are we just displaying truth in action? To me, the courtroom is truth in action. So why do we hide that?
Were you surprised, Steve, to see the prosecution also now say that they don't want cameras?
I want to say yes, but I'm shocked at how many times the prosecution and the defendant are on the same page. And then there's some certain things that they have in common, and they rise up. They rise up over and over and over. I won't say them now, but if they keep rising up over my daughter's truth and justice, then I will just call them out on those commonalities that they have. And I mean, I just want a camera. I just want the truth. I just want everyone to see what's going on. That makes me radical. Okay, I'll live with that.
Shannon, does it matter what the families think in the eyes of the court? I mean, I've seen the filings from the prosecution, defense, the media. Like, does the family have a say when it comes to the cameras?
Well, I mean, ultimately, I can't speak for the prosecution in this case or the defense in any way. As an experience as a prosecutor, as a former prosecutor, and we always listen to the victims. A lot of times, the victims have an opportunity to speak to us about resolutions, how the case might be resolved. Certain things that go on during the case, we want them involved in along those lines. And so, I think that's part of the family putting out the statement today, was to voice their opinion about what they thought about having cameras in the courtroom, and hoping that people were listening to what they were saying. So I can't speak to the prosecution or the defense and what they might be thinking. So,
I mean, in your role representing the families, does the prosecution come to you like with situations like this and say, what does the family think about cameras?
Well, we're always hopeful, but I think that's the reason we put out the statement today. I think if we had been approached or asked in some way about that, at least the Gonzalez family, I'm not sure they contacted. I don't know. I can't speak to see if they've contacted any of the other families. I don't think they contacted the Cornudo family or the Mogans about the courtroom cameras in the courtroom, but they did not contact the Gonzalez family through me to ask us what our opinion was. And the family stressed to me that they thought it was an important thing that the world know and people know what they thought about it, and that they thought it was important that cameras be in the courtroom. And so that's why the statement was put out by the family, to let people know what their thoughts were.
In the statement, Steve, it says that the case is surrounded by secrecy. Can you elaborate on that a little more? Like what you guys meant by that?
I've talked with multiple family members, and I want to be respectful for everybody's viewpoint. And there is some fear that the cameras will record things that are gross. They're not ready to have their friends and family members come to them and say, hey, did you hear about this or that? And I understand that. I really do. So they come to me, and I reflect what they're saying. I absorb it, and then I also tell them from a legal perspective, from my lawyer counsel, it's hard to really argue what a camera is going to be in a courtroom negatively. Like, we're here asking for somebody in the community to judge this individual. So let's just hang it out there. Let's show every aspect and every fact that I feel is a fact. The community should agree that that is a fact, whether it's DNA or whatever it is. So, but I still respect all these family members and their own individual processing of their preparedness for what's about to happen. And It's terrible. You really cannot prepare yourself to understand that the legal system is going to drag all of us through the mud. And that's the only way you can get to the truth. So if I'm going to go through the mud, I'd rather have all the witnesses that I can possibly have than to create a narrow bubble there in Latau County in Moscow and say that, I want to have the support of everyone, that the justice was put in place and the evidence was that clear.
I'm thinking about, them wanting to tear the house down, the university, and sort of the fight over that. And now not wanting cameras, and the prosecution also not wanting cameras. And they gave their legal arguments, which, I guess makes sense in one way, that witnesses might be scared to testify with cameras rolling, especially like emotional witnesses. But I'm also wondering, like, do you think any of this is connected? Like, without cameras, the story sort of goes away, the town doesn't look as bad. Without the house, you don't have to think about it every day. The school can go back to normal. Like, do you think it's all connected, or do you think it really is just sort of legal? Like, both sides just don't want the cameras for the legal reasons.
100%. The reason I'm talking to you right here, right now, is because there is capital business decisions being made on top of justice systems. So no, there is no way to pretend like these all equal and they all equate to the same motivation. Somebody's going to lose, and it isn't going to be my daughter. I will sit here. I will speak to every single microphone, every single camera before I go to court and after I go to court. If you force me to do it, I'd rather the courtroom speak for itself than me. I don't want to speak. I'm actually quite a private man. But if you force me to protect my daughter, then I will speak at every moment that I have to do just that and protect her. And that's what we're doing today. We're protecting the truth. We're protecting where the truth is going to go. The truth needs to be in that courtroom, and a camera will never, ever hide the truth. So why remove it? Why do you remove a camera? Well, maybe it'll protect you from, like me, I misspoke. I might say something wrong, but I'm a father. I can deal with that. The repercussions of that is fine. But some people seem to be scared of the repercussion of their mistake. And I say, just embrace it and let the community decide what the truth is. We either got the guy or we don't. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And just a few more questions. Since Kohberger waived the speedy trial, I think we all thought maybe the trial was going to be really soon, and now it could be far away. I mean, how are you dealing with that? Are you still processing that? I mean, I feel for you guys having to like continue to live in this weird like legal limbo.
You give up all your notions of normal when something like this happens. And you hope that your community feels for you and embraces you, hugs you, and says, we're going to take care of this. You hope that your community says, we're here for you and we're going to make this right. And that's why I'm there, for them to have the vision and the cameras, and everybody needs to be in that room, because they're the ones that are wrapping their arms around me, Chrissy, and our children. They're saying, we're gonna do, like, this is an outsider. He came here to hunt these dumb hillbillies and teach us about what he said was like cloud computing and forensic. He thought he could come here and hunt dumb hillbillies and he could get away with this. And now that we have him caught, we need to be able to hold him accountable, and the community needs to be a part of that. And taking cameras out of there makes it a double standard. You can't say that they're accountable yet they're not a part of it.
Um, how are you? I mean, how are you guys doing? Like, I mean, the last time I saw you in court, Olivia was there with your granddaughter. I mean, how are they doing? I'm sure in some ways, like life has to go on. You have some positive things happening too with your granddaughter. Like how's everybody doing?
In some ways, we're in a pause of a movie. Like, you can just go forward, but you just got to keep rewinding because you don't know what you've missed and all these facts. So it's no way to live. It's no way to be. And we try to treat our children different than what we're going through. It's my responsibility to hold this individual accountable for what he's done to my family. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking. That's why this is happening right here, right now. It's not because I care about anything other than justice. And that's why I'm pushing for cameras. That's why I'm pushing for this, because I'm a biased man. I'm a biased father. So let everybody have a part in this. And then it's a lot easier for us to have a conviction that we all embrace. And then the rest of me and my family don't have to hear the haunting effects of messages saying that, if there would have been cameras in that courtroom, it would have been a different outcome. If we would have had truth and transparency in this case, if it wasn't all about business, then there would have been a different outcome. So you only have one moment to make a statement, and that's the moment we're in right now and why we're doing this. Shannon told me we had a couple of interviews. I don't keep track of this. He keeps track of this for me because there is a gap. It's a gap in leadership. And the leadership, I want them to hold everyone accountable and do all this. And when they don't, our phones are being ring. People are calling us because somebody else isn't picking up the phone. That's really why we get involved. I really don't want to be the guy talking to you, to be honest.
Yeah, you sort of become like the spokesperson though. I mean, it's, like you said, it seems like if you don't hold people accountable, it's like in life, things slip away or whatever.
For me, Kaylee would have expected me to be her father. Not 1%, not 10, not 50% of the time. Like, I handed off to a judge and a prosecutor to be the father. I'm going to be her father 100% of the time. And when I tell whoever did this, you picked the wrong family, it has to be backed by action. And I'm that action. I'm that person saying, I'm going to be the voice that doesn't go away, even if both sides want that voice to go away.
Makes sense. Is there anything else, Shannon, you think is important that we didn't touch on with the statement, or just that you want to get out there going into the hearing tomorrow?
I mean, there's a lot of procedural things that are going on in the next couple of weeks. I think the family will be there either by Zoom or in person. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. It's not worth it to really get them in there for 10 or 15 minutes to, like Steve said, for a whole day's worth of stuff. So, but we are, we're looking forward to some of the stuff coming up, the scheduling order, picking new trial dates, the alibi issue, the indictment stuff, all decisions on those things. The court has a lot of stuff in front of him that it has to make some decisions on. We're looking forward to those things. The cameras in the courtroom tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be some oral argument on that tomorrow. I think we'll all be there by Zoom. I'll be there by Zoom. And, it's like Steve said, they become the spokespersons for the families sometimes because that's the job that they've taken on, and they're willing to do it. And, when we do put out statements, we always kind of check in with the families to see if that's something that they're in line with, and we can attach their name to it. So they can get their voice out there and present their views. And so, we thought it was important that everyone knew what the positions of some of the family members of the Cornudo family and the Gonzalez family felt about cameras in the courtroom. And that was the reason for the statement today.
Oh my goodness. That is heartbreaking. So the statements that it says the Gonsalves family and members of the Cornudo family statement. It is vitally important that this trial be open to the public to view and watch. There is an enormous amount of media coverage about this case, some good, some bad. And with that comes the responsibility of the court to ensure a fair trial. The thing that is most overlooked in reviewing the motions filed by the state, who took no position in its original motion dated June 6, 2023, stating it relied on the discretion of the court and is now taking a different position. And the defense is faith in the justice system. This case is surrounded by secrecy. Everything is either sealed or redacted. The family has not received any discovery on this case or any information about the facts of the case from the state. No one knows anything about the case, which leads to speculation. That speculation is fueled by the secrecy surrounding everything that is filed and every hearing that is closed off to the media and the public. Only through independent investigation has the family been able to get some information. So it is vitally important that the trial be viewed publicly. It is important to the victim's family, relatives, community members, and the public that this veil of secrecy be lifted at trial. This not only ensures accountability for all the parties involved, but also helps the public maintain its faith in the justice system. So, even after all that, does the crotch that somebody on Twitter zoomed up to after the fact outweigh all of this? Something you cannot control. Again, the argument, media versus social media. The right to transparency, the right to our justice system, the right to answers, versus your inability to control social media. And I want you guys to see what Brian Kohberger looked like in court today. So we have Kohberger and Anne. Laughing away. I don't know, guys. I'm not sitting here saying that it's perfectly black and white and that there are no issues that come with media being in the courtroom. This is today. This is today. But the family is even acknowledging there's way too much secrecy, there's way too much hush-hush. And to even hear Steve saying, why isn't the state even making these arguments? Why is the state all of a sudden aligning way too often with what the defense wants? He will call it out. Meat beats. I don't know, Thistle, you know, like, and I understand, like, it could be a snapped in a moment where you're talking about anything. I know, but like, I would not be smiling in a situation like that. No, I mean, listen, if he, yeah, sure, he can. Just would you be? I think I'd be way too freaked fucking out and taking it seriously if I didn't do it to ever be laughing or smiling. I'd be pooping myself. I think so, Harlot. They had the pool. Let me see if I can find more. Hold on. They had the pool policy. So as far as I know, court TV cameras were in there. Okay, here's more. Court TV cameras were in there. And it should be getting me released. What, Twizzle Stick? What? Y'all think it was me? Okay. What do you mean? What's the question? Think what was you? Claws. Oh, Jesus. If I was innocent and in court, I'd be laughing because it wasn't me. Ah, well, I mean, to be fair, everybody is different. I understand that, you know, like, so I'm not gonna jump and say like, oh, because he's laughing, he's got to be guilty. No, but again, these are things that I like to see, and I make little notes of them in my head. You know, like, that's it. And it may be relevant, it may not be relevant. Hey, Baseball Mom, it's lovely seeing you. Why is that tie so? It is big. That is a mighty big tie. It's a mighty big tie you're wearing, Mr. Kohberger. Yeah, it is a loose knot too. Yeah, apparently he likes to breathe. Oh man, that's his bed sheet folded in fours. Oh, you guys crack me up. I think, yeah, Steve kind of like similarly said what I was saying as far as like the judge, like, listen, like, we don't want this to be recorded. We don't want this to be shown. That's weird. Oh, Rebecca, that's an interesting suggestion, that they may be trying to make Brian appear smaller with a larger tie, like an optical illusion type of thing. It's not working. Everyone says it's not working. Huh. Right. Hey. Oh man, I see some blackheads. It's just sad because the with Steve doesn't seem to feel confident and secure with either side, and like that's really sad. I can't imagine. He's already in the these families are in the most horrific situation imaginable, and imagine just not only that, but like, hey, now you don't even feel secure in justice being served. Like that's, oh my god. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Which video, Erica? There's like 8 episodes of the 9/11 series, and they're all unlisted YouTube links. So you could either watch it in the Patreon app, or you could click the link and it'll bring you outside into your YouTube app. If you want me to grab the link and I can message it directly to you in Patreon, if that's easier. I'd try to pull it out and like watch it through your YouTube app versus in the Patreon app, because it's easier, at least for me. So I said I'm shaving my brows off. Yeah. I don't know. Sure, Erica. Let me see if they got any more. Up. Okay, wait. Okay, here, look. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Okay. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Footage like this of accused killer Brian Kohberger,
State of Idaho versus Brian Kohberger,
could soon be banned if the judge grants the defense's request to bar all cameras from the courtroom. But this latest legal move, backed by the prosecution, is against the wishes of at least one of the victims' families.
We're all for like truth, transparency, the cameras being in there and letting the community decide.
Kaylee Gonzalez's father says banning cameras from the proceedings could fuel online rumors and misinformation.
It's chaos on the internet. It's chaos all over the world. And I'm done with that.
In a 7-page motion, Kohberger's attorneys claim camera crews have ignored a 2-month-old court directive to stay wide on the entire courtroom and to not focus exclusively on Kohberger, pointing to examples of what the defense claims are blatant violations of that directive that were later published alongside sensationalistic and prejudicial headlines. The prosecution siding with the defense, arguing it's concerned that camera coverage will have a substantial chilling effect on the ability of witnesses to testify, while noting certain witnesses have already been subjected to threats and harassment. Facing 4 first-degree murder charges in the stabbing deaths of Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle, Kohberger officially waived his right to a speedy trial at a hearing late last month, pushing his October 2nd trial date back indefinitely. For Kaylee's family, every day without justice is agonizing.
When you ask for the victims of murdered children to just shut up for extended periods of time, and you say that you're not going to give justice for perhaps years, it's not acceptable.
We learned about 15 minutes ago that no action will be taken today on the decision on whether or not to ban cameras from the courtroom.
Okay, so there we go. I'm so happy it worked, Erica. Oh, and thank you. That's very, very kind of you, Erica. And yes, message me within the Patreon app and let me know what you think as you watch them. I love to hear the feedback. And I'll be doing another episode. And yeah, for anybody who is a Patreon member, I'll be doing the next episode of the 9/11 series sometime within the next week. But now that all of the pre-recorded, already existing episodes, they'll be happening in real time. So, because if you watch any of the episodes on Patreon, you'll see that they're already there. They were once originally on my main channel. So don't feel like you're going crazy if you see me talking to a chat that you don't see, because they were once on the channel, but then it's no good. It, like, YouTube does not like when you talk about it on this, so I had to move it over there. So then we'll start doing lives over on the Patreon in real time, so I'm excited about it. But I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much. But yeah, so that's what's going on, and I guess we'll see. I don't know if there's a date set. I haven't heard as far as whether there or not is a date set for Judge to make a ruling on whether or not cameras will be allowed in the courtroom. But you guys know, I'll keep you posted. Well, thank you, Dara. Thank you so much. But yeah, I just think that this isn't a media issue versus a social media issue. I think that, again, that these aren't illegitimate concerns. I think they are concerns. Media is evil. And I just think that these are things that extend beyond the Kohberger trial. These are things that can't really be prevented. So the court system has to catch up. The legal system has to catch up with technology and social media and how it plays a role in our society today. And yeah, I agree, Twizzlestick. I think that they just need to incorporate fixed cameras and feeds in every courtroom and find a way for the courts to give access to media. And that way the courts have control over the feeds and what it records, you know what I mean? Like, versus individual equipment in the courtroom. I think that would make a lot more sense. But if we do not have transparency, this is going to cause so much more issues for this specific case. It really freaking is. But all right, guys, I think for tomorrow, I'm going to discuss what's going on with the Maui fires, because that is, I don't even know how to word it. There's some very, very, very wrong things going on with that. And the more I've been looking into it, the more it's been unsettling and bothering me. And it feels like, I don't want to use the word conspiracy, because I don't like to use that word, because people jump to conclusions. But you're watching something happen in real time that's very, very wrong. And I think people need to pay attention. You're watching it unfold in front of your eyes. Pay attention. Pay attention. It sounded like a cheer. Pay attention. Pay attention. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I will be live about that tomorrow. So if you are interested, keep an eye out. You'll see my live pop up. So just make sure to set your reminder. And thank you all so much for being here with me. I will keep you posted with any developments. So other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you all so much for being here with me. And I will talk to you all soon.